Okay, now we're going to talk about how to edit the content that's on our pages. And this is going to be similar to what we just did with our widgets, but it's going to go a little bit more in depth. So right now we're in the back end of our website. We're going to go over here to pages. And then we are going to use the home page as an example. Okay, so when I open this up, I immediately can see that it looks very similar to what the front end of my website actually looks like, with a few exceptions, of course. So to start editing, I'm just going to click into the page, and this selected this whole entire top section. Now, we also have the list view. So when I click on these 3 horizontal stair step bars, that opens up my list view of this page, and it shows me kind of how my sections are built. So this whole hero section at the very top, that's one row layout. And if I expand this, I see that I have 2 sections in here, and those are my 2 columns. So we have a row layout, and it is 2 columns. Then I can expand each of those columns, and I see here's my advanced text, there's another advanced text, there's my paragraph, and there's my button. And this second column over here, if I expand that, I have just an advanced image. So this is how you can go in and select exactly what you want to very easily. Now you'll notice that when I'm on my row layout over here in my block settings, I have it set to 2 columns. I could make it more columns or fewer columns if I wanted to. I can change the layout of the columns. So instead of side by side, maybe I want these to be stacked. I probably wouldn't do that on desktop. However, I might want to do that on a tablet or on a mobile device. So this is where you can kind of change responsive settings. And then I'm going to show you one thing, because when I click on the tablet, it looks a little wonky, doesn't it? And when I click on the mobile version, it also looks extremely wonky. And I will show you on the front end of the website how that's not what things actually look like. So I'm just going to inspect this, and we're viewing it kind of on a mobile device right now, but you can see the picture is more full-sized and it's not teeny tiny like this. I'll select a tablet view so we can look at that. This is what the website actually looks like on a tablet, and this is what it looks like in our editor behind the scenes. So just remember that the theme is really set up so that everything is done for you, and all you really have to do is just get in here and start changing pictures or text and colors. But if you want to get really into depth about things, you can start to really play around with all of this stuff. All right, so I'm going to click back into this row layout. I'm going to get rid of my list view, and I'm going back to the desktop version of the site. Okay, so as I hover over this, I see that I have this little arrow, and this is a way that if I click and hold down, I can adjust the padding, which is the space between this overall section and the content that's inside of it, if you want to make it less or if you want to make it more. Yet again, in my block options over here, I have padding and margin. So you can see that it's set to 80, and it has 80 on the bottom as well, 80 pixels. But maybe I wanted to make it a little bit bigger, so I put 120, and you can see how that just changed. So same thing when I click on tablet, I also have the tablet padding and margin. Right now it's on 61 and 60, and I also have the mobile padding and margin, 40 and 40. So feel free to play around with those settings as you desire. So anyway, just in this section, I'm going to click on this image to change it. You can see the bounding box is a little bit off. That's because this image has a margin on it that's pulling it over to the side a bit. But all I have to do is click on replace, and I can open my media library, and I can select a different picture to put right there. If I want to undo this, I do have that undo button in the top, and now it's back to normal. I can even slide this. So right now I have a 2-column section, and this side is 45% width, and this is 55% of the width. I can just drag this to change that. Okay, I can click into any text over here, and it's going to bring up the floating toolbar, which has some different options for me. If I want to start making things bold or italic, I can do that. I can click on this and start changing the color if I wanted to. Anything that I edit on the page is going to override my global settings. So by default, in my typography settings from earlier, we have all of our font colors pretty much set to just this black color. But when I edit something on the page and I just want this one to be red, and then I'm going to preview this, preview a new tab, and you can see it just affected that text only. So that's how you can start to change each one of these things and really customize the look of your website. I can make this is an H2 heading. If I wanted to make this an H5 heading, you'll see how that happens, and I'll preview it on the front end. So there it is. All right, so I'm going to put that back to an H2. I can just click into here and I can start typing to update my copy on the page. If I click onto this button styles, it was set up in the global styling. So over here, when it opens my block options for this button and I click on button 1 settings, you can see that theme is selected, and that means this button is going to look like my global button styling. But if I want to change this button, I can start doing that. So here's some color settings. So I could change the text to pink. I can change the background color to blue. I can change the hover settings as well. So on hover, I can change it to be orange, and I can change it to be this green color. And then let's preview that on our front end. And obviously it doesn't look very good, but you can see that this affected this button, and it's only affecting this button. It's not going to affect the buttons on the rest of my website. Okay, let's talk about this background picture in this section. So I'm going to click on this section to open the block settings. And if you're confused, just remember, use the list view. So I know that I have my row layout selected. Now over here in the block settings, I'm going to go down to background settings. And that's where I see this background image that I have set. So if I click on edit image, I could set it to something different, like so. I can undo that to put it back to how it was. If I want an image that covers the whole entire width and height of the section, I can come down here to background image size, and I can change this to be cover. I'm going to leave it on contain because I kind of like that overlap style. Feel free to play around with these settings and with different background images. Okay, let's talk about the script font. So on the front end, remember we have this script font, and it was not something that we were able to control from the customizer because it's controlled by a class name. So back here, I'm going to click into this Hey Mama. And if I scroll all the way down in my block settings, we have advanced. And right here under advanced and additional CSS classes, I have the word script. So anywhere that I apply this additional CSS class, it's going to change that font to the script styling. So let's change this into the script. So I'm going to scroll down and click into this advanced text block, and I'm going to go down here to advanced, and I'm just going to add script into here, and then we're going to preview in a new tab. And when I scroll down, you can see that it has updated this. Okay, so that's how you control that script font. Now this script font is called Breathing, and it is a free font from DaFont. So some of the characters are missing. I'll show you what I mean by changing this paragraph to the script font as well. Make that a script, and let's update this on the front end. Okay, so you see it has these weird little things, and you're like, what the heck is that? That's because there may be a comma or a period here, and the free version of this font does not support that character. So if you want to buy the full version of Breathing, I'll put a link so that you can purchase it, but just remember that you're going to be a little bit limited with this script font. And then I will show you as well, this is set to the script font right now, and it's also an H3 heading. I could change this to the H1, and look what that looks like on the front end. And now you'll see that that is an H1 that has been converted to a script, and our H1 is set to be all caps, and then it's also much larger. So that is how you use the script class. There's one other class, and it is the class that controls the rotation of this image. So when I click onto this image and I scroll down to advanced, you'll see I have rotate-8-DEG, which stands for degree. So if you want to add this rotate 8 degrees onto any image, you can do that, and it's going to rotate it 8 degrees. So let's just see what that would look like if I did it on this top image. Rotate 8-degree. And we'll preview on the front end. And look at that. Now my image is rotated 8 degrees. So feel free to use either one of those classes to customize your website. Okay, I set things back to how they were previously as the default theme. And let's talk about how to add new content. So we know now how to edit the content on the page, how to edit the sections, etc. If we want to add new content, I can click on this little plus sign at the top, and this is going to open up all my blocks. So I have the Kadence blocks, and all of these are in blue. I recommend using the Kadence blocks as much as possible because they have a lot more options as far as customizing them. And the Gutenberg default blocks that come in WordPress, which are these ones in black down here, they just don't have as many options to customize them. And we kind of saw that earlier when we were editing our widgets. And I'm going to just show you, I'm going to click on row layout, and that's going to add a new row layout to my page. And by default, it's going to appear at the bottom. Okay, so I already have some options here. I can make it a single row. I can have 2 columns. I can have 2 with one 66% width and the other 33%. There's just some default widths already built in. So let me just click on the 3. There we go. And now they're going to come up, and then I can click on the plus inside of here to start adding content. So I'm going to add a heading in there. Maybe in this block, I want to add an image. So we will select our image. Okay. And then maybe here I want to add a paragraph. So I'll put an advanced text block, but I'll change it to paragraph, and I'll write some paragraph text here without typos, please. Okay, so that's how I can start adding content. I can drag these to make some of them larger or smaller. And then when I click into each one of these, of course, I have my block settings. Okay, so when I click on, you can see it's a little bit challenging to select the whole entire row. So just remember your list view over here, and here's my row. And let's say I want this row to have a background color on it. So I've got my row selected, and then I'm going to go to background settings, and we'll choose a background color, and we'll make it this green color. Okay. If I want to move this block somewhere else, I can, in this little pop-up floating bar, I can click the up and down arrows to move it underneath other areas of my page. Okay. And if I want to just get rid of this altogether, I can click on the 3 dots and remove the row layout. Okay, and then as always, if I want to save my changes, I just need to click on update at the top to save that. So now that we've talked about how to edit your page content, let's just quickly go over posts. So my post is going to be, here's my blog page, and my post is going to be the actual individual blog post. So when I click into this, the sidebar is going to show by default, and you remember how to edit the sidebar in our widgets area from the previous video. And then some of this stuff is just going to show by default, like the author and the similar posts, and then the comment area down here. You can change some of these settings, and these are in the Kadence customizer. So remember, you just have to, in your backend, go to appearance and then customize. And there are a lot of options that control these different features of your blog post. Okay, I'm not going to get into that because that's really beyond the scope of this video and everything's already set up for you, but feel free to look into those things if you want to. Let's just see how to edit this individual post. I'm just going to make it easy, and I'm going to click edit post up here. But also to access this post, I could just go to the back end of my website and click on posts, and then I could select my own little corner right here. I have that open in a new tab, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so this is just like a page. It's a lot simpler, of course, but if I click on this, this is just a paragraph block, and this is the default WordPress paragraph block. Maybe I want to insert a new one. This is another way to insert new content. Click on the 3 dots, and then I want to insert after, and I'm going to click on the plus here, and that's going to open my blocks. If I want to open all of them, I click on Browse All. And I'm going to add a Kadence advanced text block, and we will make it a H4, and here is a new subheading. Okay, So I can start adding content. Here is like a Kadence gallery. You can see there are different settings for how I can make these pictures present and do little slideshows. These two options are grayed out because those are only available with Blocks Pro. Let's just quickly talk about this featured image and how to change that. This is going to show up by default. This is your featured image. So in my post, I'm going to get rid of the list view. Right now I'm in block settings, okay? I want to go to post. And this is settings just for my actual blog post. So I could change my author here. I can select different categories. So I have beauty, fashion, and parenting, and you'll see beauty, fashion, and parenting selected. So maybe I want to take parenting off of there. I can add tags if you want to. And then here is the featured image. So if I want to replace this image, I could make it this one. Set that, and let's update this. And now when I refresh this blog post, I have a different featured image. Okay, so, and then also my parenting category was taken away. So that's how I can start to edit my blog posts, and it's very easy to do.